Good morning, dear students. Today's the topic of our lesson is linking words and phrases, customs and traditions, and customs in Dagestan. In the first part of our lesson, we will talk about linking words and phrases, which is the writing part of the lesson. In the second part, we will discuss the customs, traditions all around the world, and especially concentrate on customs in Dagestan. This is the reading part of our lesson. So let's begin with linking words and phrases. They are actually divided into 10 simple groups. The first group is linking words and phrases which are used to express your personal opinion. They are, in my opinion, in my view, to my mind. Personally, I believe that. I feel very strongly that. It seems to me that. And I think that. These types of phrases are usually used in the beginning of the sentence. They may be given in the middle of the sentence. The position is not really clear. The only thing which you need to remember about them is that they actually express your opinion. And the second thing which you need to remember is the strengths of each of them. So if you really believe in something, if you are sure 100% in your opinion, you better use something like I feel very strongly that. If you're not very sure, you may use the phrase it seems to me that. So, depending on the strength of your opinion, you may use this or that type of device. For example, in my opinion, electronic cigarettes should be banned in public places. Here you'll need to put comma after it. Second group of devices is linking words to list the advantages and disadvantages. They are one advantage of, another advantage of, one other advantage of, the main advantage of, the greatest advantage of, the first advantage of. For example, the main advantage of living in a small town is that you know all your neighbors. The greatest disadvantage of living in a small town is that all your neighbors know you. So, all in all, when you're using these things, when you're using advantages and disadvantages devices, you need to remember which of them come first when you're introducing your first argument and which comes to the latest ones. So, for example, you never may begin your list of advantages or disadvantages with the phrase one other advantage of, because other reminds us about the previous ones. It tells us that we had some more before. So you may begin with one advantage, with main advantage, with greatest advantage, the first advantage, and so on. The same thing can be said about disadvantages. Third group of linking words and phrases are used to sequence a paragraph. To sequence means to put the ideas in the order. Usually they are used when you're describing some kind of process. So for example, you may be acquainted with them from your writing lessons. They include the following. Firstly, first of all, in the first place, to start with, to begin with, secondly, thirdly, and finally. Remember that all of them are followed by comma in your essay. So for example, you may write your sentence like this. To begin with, comma, it is well known that some dogs may be aggressive and must be kept on a leash. Fourth group is to add more points to the same topic. So for example, if you were listing disadvantages and want to add one more disadvantage, you may use these phrases. What is more, furthermore, moreover, apart from this, apart from that, in addition to this, and besides this. You also need to remember that these phrases are also followed by comma. There are some more devices which are used to add more points to the same topic. They are also and to. The difference between also and to is that also comes in the middle of the sentence and to comes at the end of the sentence. Also, we have phrases like not only but also, and not only as well. So let's look at the example sentences. Not only do dogs help to the blind, but they are also very useful in the police work. Or not only do dogs help to the blind, but they are very useful in the police work as well. What's the difference between two sentences? Is the position of the second part of your linking word, linking device. If also again is given in the middle of the second clause, as well is given at the end of the whole sentence. Remember that, please. Fifth group is the devices which are used to show the reason. They are because, because of, due to the fact that, since, as, for this reason, and therefore. Let's look at the examples. The BBC decided not to show the program because it would upset many people. Or the BBC decided not to show the program due to the fact that it would upset many people. There are also some other types of devices. For example, the program would upset too many people. For this reason, the BBC decided not to show it. So you should remember that such devices as for this reason and therefore should be given after the presentation of your reason clause. So as you see, your reason clause here comes for the first in the first place. You give your reason in the first part of the sentence. The program would upset too many people. And after that, you give your main clause. So for this reason, and therefore, are always given after the reason clause. Sixth group of linking words and devices are used to show the purpose. They are so that, so as to, and in order to. You need to remember that so that is followed by subject and verb combination, while so as to and in order to are followed by a pure verb. Let's look at the examples. We left the hotel very early so that we could have time to visit all the monuments. So you see that after so that we have a combination of a subject and a verb. We left the hotel very early so as to have time to visit all the monuments. We left the hotel very early in order to have time to visit all the monuments. So as to and in order to are both followed by a pure verb. Seventh group are devices to give example. They are, for instance, for example, such as, and like. For instance and for example are given in the beginning of the clause. Such as and like are given in the middle of the clause. There are many ways to keep fit. For instance, by going to the gym regularly or by jogging 3 times a week. There are many ways to keep fit, like going to the gym regularly or jogging 3 times a week. Eighth group is to show the contrast. So first ones are used in the whole full sentence when we express our idea in a full sentence. They are although, even though, in spite of the fact that, despite the fact that, in spite of, and despite. You should remember that in spite of and despite are usually followed by ing or a pure noun in spite of the fact that and despite the fact that may be followed by a noun plus verb combination. So let's look at the example. In spite of the fact that young people know alcohol is harmful, some of them go binging drinking every weekend. Or, in spite of knowing alcohol is harmful, some young people go binge drinking every weekend. These devices are also used to show the contrast just in case two sentences we have two sentences which express our idea. They are yet, however, nevertheless, but, nonetheless, on the one hand, and on the other hand. Young people know alcohol is harmful. However, some go binge drinking every weekend. On the one hand, we tell young people alcohol is harmful. On the other hand, we let them go binge drinking every weekend. So as you see, here our main idea, our thought is divided into two sentences, into two simple sentences. Here we had one complex sentence. Of course, sometimes it is better to give complex sentences, but it doesn't mean that you should never use these devices. It is impossible to make all the sentences complex ones. So you just need to use the combination of complex and simple sentences. Tense group, finally, are those which are used to give a conclusion. They are finally, lastly, all in all, taking everything into account, on the whole, all the things considered, in conclusion, to sum up, to put in a nutshell. You need to remember that they are also always followed by comma. Let's look at the example. Taking everything into account, there are many good different ways to conclude an essay in English. So I hope there are no questions according to linking words and phrases. Now let's move to the reading part of our lesson. We will read some texts about different kinds of traditions. Now let's watch a video about Dagestan, which is a very important and cultural center of Russia. So this is all. Now you need to do the following exercises. You need to choose the best description of the topic of the video. We have four options: industry, wedding, culture, and family life. The correct answer is culture. Also, now I would like you to come back and watch the video again, then put these ideas in the correct order as they were mentioned in the video. Not all of them were mentioned, so some will be missed. Finally, we have the sentences with mistakes, factual mistakes in them. I would like you to come back again, watch the video for the third time, and correct the mistakes given in the sentences. Which words and phrases are mentioned in relation to carpet making in Dagestan? Let's remember. The correct answers are traditional, local, wool, thread, vegetables, and museums. Finally, your homework will be to answer the following questions and to prepare to answer these questions on our further lesson. Do you have any questions to me? I hope no. Thank you. That was the end of our lesson.